right. This morning, I'm going to talk about living visually impaired, because sometimes, we don't even realize that we are living visually impaired. We don't see what's around us. We can't grasp it. We can't get our hands on it or get our eyes to focus on it. There was one time at work, years and years and years ago, I was cleaning this machine and it had all these chemicals in it, and somehow or another, as I'm reaching up, whatever, I knocked the little drain thing open, and the fluids just come flying down. Well, I'm underneath it, and it gets all in my eyes, and of course, I get crawled out from underneath there and try to get to the washout sinks, and they end up taking me to the hospital, and it ended up burning both eyes, but one of them burnt pretty bad. I had to wear a patch for I think it was 2 or 3 weeks, and put all this ointment in it. But I tell you what, you're driving down the road, and you've got a patch over one eye. You want to talk about being visually impaired. It would scare you. You're doing good. Luckily, it was my left eye, but you're driving down. But if a car come up beside you on this side, you wouldn't know it was there until all of a sudden it was in front of you. Boy, it would just startle you. And it also, it hurts your depth perception. It hurts everything about you because you can't really tell. And it really hindered, my job actually, because I couldn't see the way I was supposed to be able, and the way God had built me to see. I couldn't see what everything was there. My vision was just impaired. I know they used to see these horses, and maybe Michaela, they might still do it. You can tell me that they put these things on the side like this, and it would be so the horse either wouldn't get scared for some reason, I guess, or so they could get it to do whatever they wanted to make it lead down a path, and those blinders would keep them either keeping from looking over here or focus just on this away. But blinders, they can do an okay job, but sometimes, that you need more than that. So this morning, I asked Eric, especially since he was injured, it'll be funner this way, because it's. Come on up here, Eric. Y'all ever play pin the tail on the donkey? Oh yeah, I forget you're tall. Yeah, come on down to the next step. You come down. There we go. Y'all play pin the tail on a donkey, and you get somebody, and you put the little thing. Sorry, this is an old tube sock. I hope I washed it. And you put the blinder on the person, right? And then you take them. I step on down here a little bit. You got to step coming up. You got to trust me here. And you spin them around, and you spin them around and around, and then you go spin them back around the other way, and you spin them around. And then, of course, they got this stick in their hand, and there's this piñata here with all this candy. And they say, okay, what I want you to do is I want you to hit this thing. Well, of course, we're not doing that this morning because it's funner this way. Eric, tell me before I hit you, okay? Which side's your sore spot?
The right side.
Okay, so I'm hitting the right side over here. So that way you'll be sure to tell me quicker. If I was to come in here and poke you in your right side, see, you couldn't stop me. You couldn't see me. I could come up here, do all this stuff and crazy stuff in front of your face, or if I was going to take you to walk, I'd say, come on, let's come over here, and wherever I would lead you, you'd have to trust me, because if I all of a sudden just let go and let you go on your own, you're going to run into something, right? When you can't see, when your eyes are hindered, you are open to walk into things, trip over things, tumble over things. Your vision is impaired. Somebody can, like I say, easily come up to you. They can hurt you. I know it's over there, so I'm not doing it too much, And they can do whatever they wanted to you. And you are at their mercy. Plain and simple. You can't, he can start flailing around, and I'll step aside if he did, but he can flail around and try to block or whatever, but if he can't see the attack that's coming, then he wouldn't be able to stop it. He couldn't even run away, because if I spun him around again, and spun him around, and spun him around, and spun him around, and I said, okay, now, here, just take off running to get away, where would he go? Right into the pews. And he'd be hurt and all this, that, and the other. When we can't truly see, oops, I ain't going to pulling your hair too much, I guess. Well, we can't, thank you very much. Y'all cheer and holler, yeah. There you go, thanks, Eric. I was going to start out with the true blinders, but I thought, nah.
Oh, that would have been great.
But if he can't truly see the attacks coming at him, where he's at, how is he supposed to be able to get along? He has to, number one, trust somebody that was going to be there to help him and guide him totally. As a Christian, what we don't understand is sometimes, as Paul said, man, we see things through a glass darkened. We don't understand everything all the time. We don't see the full plan that God's got in front of us. All we see, because we look through our physical eyes, and we don't concentrate and realize that we are also in a spiritual battle. There is a spiritual realm, and the battle is going on day after day in your life. And what Satan tries to do is to put those blinders or tie you up and tie around your eyes so that you can't see what God has got for you. We're going to go to 2 Kings this morning. And of course, here's Israel. Here they are, the children of God are being under attack. If you read through the Old Testament, every time you see that the children of God are under attack, change it and put yourself as I am a child of God. So every day that I read about these battles are also what's going on in my life. It is relevant. People always say, oh, the Old Testament isn't relevant. It is very relevant. It is very real. And if you will see what God is trying to show us from times past, then we can actually, in our life today, be stronger and be able to get through. So here they're under attack again, and as usual, they're outnumbered, they're outmanned, they're outgunned, but it doesn't seem to matter, because every time the enemy comes, it seems that God is able to steer them away. He's able to hinder their assault, and He's able to get the battle turned back to Him. In 2 Kings chapter 6, verse 8, the king of Syria warred against Israel, and he took counsel with his servants, saying, in such and such a place shall be my camp. I used to wonder, I thought when I first read that, I thought, did I read that right? I went back to make sure I didn't have no Ebonics version or a modern day version. So even back in those days, they said such and such a place, So it just goes to show they were pretty country out there when they was writing the Bible. So it says, the king said, in such and such a place shall be my camp. In other words, I'm going to go camp over here because I'm going to have the best view. I'm going to be able to see how we're going to be able to whoop these Israelites. I want my camp to be here because that's going to be my crowning glory. I want them to be able to look back and look upon me. And as the man of God sent unto the king of Israel, saying, beware that thou shalt pass not such a place, for thither the Syrians are come down. And the king of Israel sent to the place which the man of God told him, and warned him of, and saved himself there not once nor twice. So here they are. He's got his camp all set up. It's going to be this big trap that they're going to go into. But it says that God sent word through the man of God to tell the king, whatever you do, do not go this way. Whatever you do, don't make your path, don't make your journey to get to this way, because if you do, you're falling right into a trap. If you go this way, you will be destroyed. How many times in our Christian life has God warned us? I'm telling you right now, the path that you're on is going to lead to destruction. You need to stop. You need to turn around. You need to change your way, because if you keep going down this path, you're going to be destroyed. You're going to be sucked in and taken in by everything that Satan has. Folks, God warns His children. God is going to take care of His children. How many times have you warned your child that you have? How many times have you warned them, I can see what you're doing, I can see how you're acting, I can see what you're trying to do in life, but I'm telling you, I can also see the outcome. I can see where it's going to take you. I can see where it's going to lead you. And I know if you don't realize it, I'm trying to warn you, you've got to stop, or you're going to get hurt. You're going to get yourself in trouble. And what the majority of the time, thank God that our children will listen to us, but sometimes they just don't, and they have to go and see for themselves. Folks, when God starts sending you a word, when God starts warning you and telling you, be careful and don't go this way, you better turn around and go the other way, or you will fall. Satan don't care. Satan's not worried about you. He don't care if he gets you just a little or if he gets you a lot. Because if he knows he can get you going this much, he can pull you the rest of the way in. Because, oh, it tastes so good at first. How many kids, here again, I told you I put some kind of Coke or something in it. Well, it wasn't a Coke. You know, so no copyright trademark. I put some kind of a soda in this water this morning just to give it a little taste. And now it's about to kill me. Oh, it tastes great. But all that sugar and stuff sitting there tears, messes with your throat. If we never would have got our kids and let them have the Coca-Cola or the sweet tea when they was young, you know, how much would it change them? They would be constantly, you know, running 5,000 miles an hour because of all the caffeine and sugar. You know, and of course, as the world says, they'd be in better shape because they wouldn't have all that in them. But we end up giving in to that little bit of sweet stuff to help us, to give us what we want. That's what Satan is trying to do to you. He'll give you just a little bit of sweet stuff just to drag you in and take you down that road. But look where this is going to lead. Look what you're going to get. But if God tells you, don't go, folks, don't go. He told the children of Israel, whatever you do, do not go this way. The Bible says not only once, not only twice, but he warned them constantly. God cares about you. He's going to tell you every day, in every which of a way, be careful where you're going. What was that song? Oh, be careful, little eyes, what you see, little ears, what you hear, little hands, what you do. For the Father up above, He's looking down with love. I think of the words. Oh, be careful, little child, what you do. Be careful, folks. And if God is trying to warn you, if God is trying to tell you, heed His warnings. Children of Israel did. They didn't get caught up in the trap. And it says, and the king of Israel sent to the place which the man of God told him to warn him of, and said to himself there not once nor twice. Therefore, the heart of the king of Syria was sore troubled for this thing, and he called his servants and said unto them, will you not show me which of us is for the king of Israel? In other words, he called his council again. He said, who's the traitor? Who is sitting there giving away all of our secrets? Who is the one that is telling them where we're going to be, how we're going to be set up? Who in the world is against us and for the Israelites? Who is doing it? You know, when it gets to that point to where, remember as a kid, you know, you'd go out and do something and somehow mom and dad found out. You know, you just wondered, how in the world did they know about this? You know, and if you didn't ever do nothing when they found out, they did. You just didn't know they found out. They just didn't talk to you about it. But that's the way God is with us. God knows what we're doing. God knows every step that we're going to take. God knows everything about us. Now here is the enemy here in Syria trying to come up against the children of Israel. And he's sitting there wondering, who in the world, who is that? Which one of you guys are traitor? He didn't realize yet that it was God above, our Father, who was looking out for His children. And one of the servants said, none, my Lord, O King, but Elisha, the prophet that is in Israel, telleth the king of Israel the words that thou speakest in thy bedchamber. King says, do what? He says, I'm telling you, King, there's a prophet of the God of Israel, that can hear your very words in your bedchambers. He knows the thoughts. He knows what you're thinking about. And it says he himself is warning Elijah, and Elijah is going to the king. Folks, we got to realize this. Satan is going to come and he's going to tie, like we did Eric, he's going to tie your eyes up. He's going to spin you around and around. He's going to try his best to get you confused. He's going to try his best to get you to where you can't see what the plan that God has for you. He's going to try his best to totally get you unaware where you can't do it on your own. And the enemy then is going to try to destroy and try to crush, try to lead you in. But God says that I am with you always. In Matthew, he says, lo, I am with you always. I will never leave you and I will never forsake you was the word given back even in the Old Testament when God told his people, I'm never going to leave you alone. I'm not going to leave you without me. I'm going to be there. So when you feel like I just can't see what's going on in my life, when you get that feeling of being blindfolded, when you get that feeling of being spun around and confused and you don't know, remember those words, I will never leave you. Lo, I am with you always. God is going to take care of his kids no matter what is going on in this world, no matter what Satan may try to do to you, to tie you up, to fool you, to trick you. If you will trust and believe in God, if you will just trust and open your eyes in the spiritual world and say, God, I don't know what's going on. I don't understand. Like the Bible says, your ways are not my ways. Your understanding is far beyond mine. So God, I'm just going to trust you. And no matter how weird it might sound to the world, God, I'm going to trust and I'm going to follow you. I'm going to stay out of the traps that Satan has laid for me. I'm going to walk in your goodness. I'm going to walk in your righteousness. I'm going to walk in what you've got, God, but I've got to trust. That's the big thing, ain't it? Trusting. Because when we can't see something, man, it gets bad. You know, you don't want to trust anything when you can't see it. You ever come outside at night and you get out there and what do you do for off the bat? You have to stand here and wait till my eyes get adjusted. And you look, you know, and for some of us now it takes a lot longer. We have to look a lot longer, you know, for those eyes to start really getting it in. As Abraham said, I'm growing old, my eyes are growing dim. You know, but we wait until finally our eyes get adjusted. And we're like, oh, okay, and then we start walking. You know? When we can't see, that seems to be one of the scariest things for us. You don't know where you're going to step. Man, there's a lot of bad feelings, but I can remember as a kid walking through the woods. You're walking through the woods, there's nothing but leaves and everywhere. And next thing you know, your next step, it's like you sink down to like, whoom, and you go falling. And there was a tree there probably 60 years ago. Now there's nothing but a hole, but the leaves filled it right up. And what do? You step in and you go right down because you can't see where you're walking. You couldn't see that hole. You know, God is telling us, man, the devil has got so many traps out there for you guys. Y'all can't see them. You're just not there. He's got them hid. He's got the ambush ready. But trust me, follow me, go the way I'm telling you, and I'm going to lead you around. You know, I'll tell you what, we start walking, and if we're not walking the way with our spiritual eyes open, if we are living visually impaired, and we're not following what God's got for us, we will end up. You know, the biggest thing used to happen, boy, you'd step in that big old hole, and it would just more hyperextend your knee backward, and you'd all get all fall and get all hurt. If we ain't careful, we're going to step in and stumble on the traps that Satan's got for us, and we're going to get hurt. And always then, of course, the next day you're out there and you're trying to hobble, or you're trying to walk, and here you are hindered in some other way, all because you didn't follow what God has set for you. Once you start down the path, they say of destruction, you know, once you get going, it's hard not to keep going. But trust in God. He's always with us. He says, Lord, I'm with you always. He's all-knowing. He has total knowledge. He's omnipresent. He's all-seeing. He knows everything about us. In Psalms, the writer says, such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high. I cannot attain unto it. Whither shall I go from thy spirit? Whither shall I flee from thy presence? If I ascend to heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there shall thy hand lead me, and thy right hand shall hold me. God is all powerful. He is all knowing. He is everywhere. He's got everything. As the little song says, He's got the whole world in His hands. He's got the whole wide world. He's got each and everything in it. All we've got to do is to trust His hands. And when the blinders get on, or the blindfold gets on our eyes, Trust to that, hold to that hand as he leads you where he wants you to go. Leads you down the steps, down the path. And don't worry about your vision. Don't worry about what you're seeing. Trust in God and let him see what's going to happen. He already knows. He's going to take care. He's the one. He's the vision that you need to trust, not yours. In Romans 8, it says, what shall we say? That if God be for us, who can be against us? Trust in God. Now I got a real quandary with the king of Syria here, because you know, as we all know, we've said it many times, Satan's kind of dumb. He's kind of stupid. He's so arrogant, I guess, that within himself he thinks that, you know, once he gets going, he's going to be able to overcome. Well, here's the king of Syria that he has gotten so blinded and so mad now, because not only once, not only twice, the Bible says, but more than that, God has fooled and ruined his plot that he had set up. And here he is again, and yet he still, even after one of his own men tells him, it is the God of Israel, the God who created, the God who hears what you say. And here this guy is still wanting to go after something. He's still wanting to go after the man of Israel. When you get, when you get in your life to that point, to where you're just whipping the devil at every turn, to where God is touching you, God is blessing you, don't think the devil is going to stop. Don't think, hey, I finally got him whipped now. I've done fought 2 battles with him, and now he's certainly going to leave me alone. No, he's not. You know what he's going to keep doing? It. Same thing that got kicked him out of heaven. His arrogance and his ego is going to try to get you. He's going to try to take now you're going to become his little main object of focus. He's going to come at you with everything that he's got. But don't worry, you got God on your side. He said, go and spy where this Elijah is, that I may send and fetch him. And it was told, saying, behold, he is in Dothan. Verse 14, so they traveled over to Alabama. No, just kidding. Verse 14, therefore sent he thither horses and chariots and a great host, and they came by night and compassed the city about. And when the servant of the man of God was risen early and gone forth, behold, a host compassed the city both with horses and with chariots. And the servant said unto him, alas, my master, how shall we do? It says the servant gets up early in the morning, gonna go out and get the water pail, whatever, clean up everything going. And it says, and he looks, and everywhere around them, they're just surrounded by an army. Everywhere he looked was an enemy. A chariot. Boy, the chariots were widely feared back in those days. Everywhere he went, everywhere he looked, totally surrounded. Of course, what does this young man think? There's no hope. There's no way out of this one. How are we going to get through this? We've made it this far, but now look, the enemy has figured out where we are. And they came to my own house. They came to where we live. And they're going to try to snuff us out. They're here to do away with us. When you get to that point, and Satan just starts, I'm going to get you. He ain't just going to get you in everything else, but he's going to come to where you live. He's going to come knocking at your door, and when you open it, he's going to show you, look what I've got waiting for you. Look around. There's no way out. I've got you this time. You ever notice when Job, everything went going on with Job, the house fell in on his kids, and it would say the house fell in and killed all his children and all the servants except one who was left to come back and tell Job. All his camels were stolen and all the servants slain except for one, which come back and told Job. And it went on and on. Everything was always except one. And they come back and tell Job the bad news. Satan is going to make sure that somebody is there to tell you it's hopeless. It's hopeless. You might as well give up. Look around, see what all's happened to you. You got no choice. You might as well give up now. Do you not? He's always going to get that one back to you, just so that they can put that last. You can see it for yourself, but let somebody give you that last piece of doubt. So the man of God answered, says, "Fear not. For they that be with us are more than they that be with them." Fear not, for they that be with us. Folks, that's confidence. That's not just being able to look in the Scripture and say that, okay, look, God's done it before for somebody. He did it for the 3 Hebrew children. Oh, look, He did it for Daniel. That's not just looking back and seeing. That's confidence. That's knowing that every day when I got up and I put on my shoes and I got dressed and I went out, every day I took God with me. Every day, everything that I've gone through when Satan tried to get me and turn me up, every day God was there, and God is the one that saw me. It wasn't me. It wasn't what I did. It was what God did. In every situation that come up, everything that I had to deal with, it was God that helped me deal with that. Folks, that was the voice of confidence talking. It didn't matter how big the situation was, because God had brought him through the small things, through the everyday things. God was there every day of his life. He knew in whom he trusted. He knew that God would never leave him nor forsake him. He knew that no matter what he saw with his eyes, his God was bigger. No blinders. Nothing could stop. He knew that his God could conquer any situation. It doesn't matter what man says. It doesn't matter how bad it looks. It doesn't matter how big and bad the giants are. When God is in your side, when God is fighting the battles for you, you don't have to worry about being visually impaired. God has got the focus. God is going to see you through.
That's right. Amen.
Here he is. Oh, don't worry. The voice of confidence. Do you not realize? Let me look at this again. I'm going to say something real quick. Let's see. He answered, "Fear not." The Bible doesn't even say that he got up and went to the door to look. It doesn't even say that he went over there. Now, if he did, he probably went over there and looked. Yep, been there, done that. I want to finish my donut first. Hold on. You know? But it doesn't even say that he got up. It just said, "Fear not, because greater is he that is in us than he that's in us." Why in the world would the king thinks he can get us when God is on our side? Folks, you know what? Why does the devil think he can get you when God is on his side? Oh, that's that arrogant, prideful, egotistical heart of Satan. But what does the Bible say? Pride cometh before the destruction, before the fall. Satan is going to fall before God. Every step that God takes, he uses the stumbling blocks as stepping stones. He tears down the walls and walks upon them to his higher ground. And if you're one of God's children, you can walk through too. Don't worry about what you see, but worry and trust in who you know. Trust in God. Trust in his sight. Trust in his vision, not yours, and he will get you through to the other side. He will get you through the battles. Now the rest of the story goes, they walk out there. Next thing you know, God smites them with blindness. Then those 2 guys say, "Come on, we're going to take you to where we need to be." And they take them into the other city, and next thing you know, God opened up their eyes, and he opens up their eyes, and here they are, right in the middle of the camp, being surrounded by the Israelite soldiers. And now they have become, once coming to get a prisoner, now they have become the prisoners. Why? Because when they went in thinking that they was going to take somebody, they had Satan, they had Syria's king as their leader, saying, "Go in and get this man of God and bring him here." Folks, you don't go in and get anything that God's got going against you. You're not going to be able to stop it. David found out the hard way that you don't just go get something that's God's if you don't do it right anyways. When he went in to get the ark, he had everything set up, everything right. The ark set on the little wagon to pull it out. Yet still, somebody died because David hadn't done that appropriately. Folks, when you're going through your life, when you're walking down your path, when it seems like you are surrounded by every enemy that's out there, when it seems like you're looking, you can't see straight, you got your blinders on. See, even sunglasses sometimes hinder my vision. I guess, like I say, I'm just getting older. I can put on sunglasses and I'd be outside in the sun, and it's like, hold on, I just can't see good enough. So I have to lift them up just to make sure that I'll put them back down. You know, sometimes it's just the things, the little things, like I say, like just a regular old pair of sunglasses hinder so much that I have to take them off just to make sure I don't run over something, or just to make sure I'm clear and right, you know. We put those blinders on, and it does. It hinders. Sometimes we think, oh, this is going to help. No. We have got to trust in God. Trust in God. Don't let the world put anything on you that's going to hinder your vision from Christ. Because when you do, and you try to do it on your own, you're going to end up in nothing but trouble. Fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. Goes right along with, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. Stand to your feet. God doesn't want us to live our life being blinded, being fooled by Satan. He don't want us in our life to be trapped. He's going to try every way, just as he did with the Israelites back in the day here. He's going to give you the warnings. He's going to tell you, don't go over here. Don't go that way. Stop. Take your blinders off. You're not... Trust me. Go a different way. It's going to be up to us if we decide we are going to do it. And if we will trust in God, God will lead us. The Bible says, for every temptation, God will give you a way out. For everything that goes on in your life, God has got the answer. But in whom do you trust? Don't live your life so visually impaired and not trust God to see you through. Bow your heads. Father,